Hello, beautiful people. Thank you for checking in again with me. And today I wanted to share a message of kindness and compassion with every one of you who is feeling stuck and feeling lost and confused, and you don't really know where you're heading or what you should be doing or if everything will turn out just fine. And it's okay to feel like that. And I have felt like that many, many times, and it's important to realize that this is just something temporary, right? You will figure out ways to get yourself on track again, back on track. Like, it's okay to sometimes just dwell on it a little bit. Just be aware that you don't drag it out too much. You don't want to spend too much time dwelling and dragging and, like, just staying in that place. It's okay. It's like, even wow, this wind, this hair, it's so long. So even if you are dwelling on it a little bit, that's also fine. Try not to put too much pressure on you to get out of it. All right, it's fine to feel lost and confused, and it's also fine to stay in that state for a while. What helps me personally when I feel like that is I just try to think about things that make me feel better. So what you might want to try is make a list of things that you know that make you feel better. It can be simple things like talking to a friend, making a cup of coffee, going for a walk, taking a shower, whatever it is. And whenever you feel stuck or lost, or you're feeling like there's no point to this all, just pick one thing of that list and go do it, and then evaluate how you feel after. Probably you might feel like you will experience a little bit of a relief or a little bit of a positive feeling, and then you will like revert back to this feeling like, nothing works, I feel like shit, I don't know what to do. And that's okay too. Just the fact that you consciously made the decision to do something that makes you feel a little bit better, that is the valuable part. Because if you do this over and over, day after day, whenever you feel like that, you will start to cultivate an awareness and a sense of agency where you can, whenever you feel lost and confused, you can decide to take action towards feeling better. And I think that is a very, very powerful skill to cultivate for yourself, because you will then be able to master your own thoughts and master your own feelings. And it's a progress that takes time. You will have to be patient about it. And to be honest, myself, I'm usually very patient with other people, but like many of us, we are not very patient with ourselves. And that is a true challenge. It's difficult to be patient with yourself and to allow yourself the time to get accustomed to new habits, to new energy, to new input, to make it yourself. You have to allow your brain to adapt, because our brains are very, very, very malleable, and they're very plastic, and we can change until maybe 80, 90 years old. Our brains are still evolving and changing, and what makes our brains change the most is repetition. So every time we take positive action towards making us feel more productive, making us feel more engaged. I like to stress the fact that you want to do things that make you feel more engaged with life. For me, that's always, not always, but a lot of times it's been a problem for me to feel engaged with life. I often feel very disengaged with life. And doing things that make you feel engaged, by doing them consciously and by deciding on doing them day by day, you will strengthen the neural pathways in your brain that will cause you to take more positive action. And these in turn will make you feel better about yourself on a daily basis. So if you cultivate this skill, because I do believe it's a skill, then you will find yourself in a much healthier place maybe 2 3 months from now. And it's not that long, 2 3 months, it's not a long time. Right now it feels like it's so far in the future, into the future. You feel stuck. It's like a tunnel vision. You can't think of anything else. You're scared that you will never feel better ever again. And then it's important to realize, okay, It's fine. I accept that I feel like this, and eventually this feeling will change. It will pass. It will morph into something else. None of your feelings are permanent ever. Feeling good, it doesn't last forever. Feeling bad doesn't last forever also. But it can feel like that when you're in this tunnel vision, especially if you're very, very stressed or very anxious. Your body is in an aroused state. There's lots of hormones going through your body. You're in a state of fight or flight where your stress levels are elevated. There's a lot of adrenaline and cortisol pumping through your system, and this causes you to have this tunnel vision because your body, when we were back in the day, when we like 100,000 years ago, I don't know the exact time span, but it doesn't really matter. But when we were chased by a predator, there was a lot of stress in our system. We had to have tunnel vision to be super focused and aware of our surroundings, and we had to run and like see every single detail and be like tunnel vision because we had to survive, when we were chased by a predator, because if we were not super focused, the predator would just catch us and eat us and we would die. So the people who had this tunnel vision back in the day, they were the ones who survived, and this is the system that's still in place right now. So whenever we feel stressed or anxious, we start to get this tunnel vision, and it's so difficult to get out of it because our systems didn't evolve to get out of it after the threat was gone or was over, but we perpetually keep this threat in our system because the thoughts we are having, the thoughts create the threat. It's an imaginary threat. Most of the time it's an imaginary threat. So what we want to do is allow this feeling to be there, because when we pay attention to it and we allow and accept it, the stress levels, they drop immediately, almost immediately. And then you have to allow your body to adapt, to calm down, to reduce the level of arousal, and then the clarity will come in, and then you will start to realize that these thoughts, they will slowly subside. And by taking your attention a little bit off the feelings after you have accepted that they were there, for instance, by doing something that you know will make you feel good, even if it's for a few moments, you will see that these feelings, the quality of these feelings will change, even if it's a little bit. But try to pay attention to how this quality changes, and you will gain more trust in the fact that they will eventually change and subside and morph into something else, especially if you're doing things that make you feel good or that you know that make you feel good. And this is also a skill to cultivate, right? You want to learn to pay attention to the things that make you feel good. And often when you do something, right after you've done it, try to take a few seconds to feel what you experience inside yourself. Do you feel energized? Do you feel tired? Do you feel disgusted? Do you feel guilty? Try to pay attention to what you feel after you've done something. For instance, if you ate an apple, do you feel healthy? Do you feel good? If you scroll for 1 hour through your Facebook feed, do you feel healthy? Do you feel good? For me personally, when I eat nice foods, I feel better. When I scroll through Facebook for 2 hours, I feel shit. So it's a clear difference between eating a healthy piece of fruit or scrolling through Facebook for a few hours. Both are totally different activities, and the one is giving me more energy and the other is draining my energy. So you want to learn to pay attention to what is giving you energy and what is draining your energy. And whenever you are feeling like you're slipping in this negative place in your mind, be aware that it's happening, allow that it's happening, accept that you feel like that, take a moment to feel the feelings, and then pull out your phone or pull out your notebook and read your list of things that you know that make you feel good. And then pick one that resonates with you in that moment, like you will intuitively feel what you want to do out of the list. Pick one that is the easiest, and then go do that. And then after you've done it, pay attention to how you feel. And like I said earlier, you will probably notice that you felt a little bit better while you were doing it, or just like a tiny little bit better after. And then maybe you will revert back to the previous state, but it might be 10% lighter. And if you do this time after time after time, you will see that the quality of your feelings will change, and you will see a big, big improvement in your daily mental state. And by doing this day after day, month after month, by cultivating this skill, you will see that your mental state will be so much more energized. It will have a much more peaceful quality, because whenever you feel negative or sad or guilty or angry or anxious, you know that you can handle this. That's a key component. Having faith and having trust in the fact that you are able to deal with these feelings, because they are just feelings, they're just that. And I know from experience that they can seem so overwhelming, they can seem so strong and so debilitating, and so they just they you freeze, you almost freeze, you're in the state of panic, you feel confused, you feel paralyzed. It's sometimes it can be so overwhelming, but in the end of the day, they're just feelings, and the feelings can be amplified by the thoughts, and the thoughts can amplify the feelings. Like, it can be like a positive loop, where whenever you feel anxious and you start thinking about being anxious, and then you feel even more anxious, and then it becomes a loop that is strengthening itself, and the feeling becomes more and more intense, and the thoughts become more and more intense. And by practicing meditation, I cannot stress this enough, guys. You have to learn to set aside at least 10 to 30 minutes a day to practice meditation. It's so important, because you will cultivate the awareness of your inner and outer state. You will learn to pay attention to your thoughts, to your feelings, and then you can really focus your attention, and you can really intervene whenever this loop is happening. You will notice that this loop is happening, like you say, okay, wait a second. I know that this is keeping me stuck. Let me stop for a minute and just breathe, and just focus my attention on my body, the bodily sensations. Just stop this loop for a few seconds, and then you create some space. And when there's space, you have a choice. And when you have a choice, you can make the right decision. And when you make the right decision time and time again, you will eventually start to create a habit out of this, and it will become natural to you. Whenever you feel like you slip into this loop, you will then immediately catch yourself and then say, wait a minute, let me just sit down for a minute, feel the feelings, get up, and go do something that I like, that makes me feel better. And if you learn to do this, I promise you that your quality of life will improve tremendously. Your relationships, both with yourself and other people, it's so important and so powerful. Because another example, for instance, if you are in a relationship with someone that you love, you might have a situation where your partner says something and it makes you super angry. It upsets you. You feel a lot of intense emotions and feelings because of what they did or said. By cultivating the skill of noticing your impulses and reactions and feelings, you can then create space and make a decision to either act on this impulse or wait, think about it, and then react. No, not react, act in a way that you want to act. Like, you can then take a moment to calm down, to really assess the situation, to think about what happened, and then really consciously decide how you want to respond. That's the word I was looking for. You don't want to react, you want to respond. And so if you cultivate mindfulness in all these situations, are kind of similar. When you're getting in an anxious loop, if you catch yourself being in this loop, then you can create space, you can make a decision to get yourself out of it. It's the same thing when you're starting to get into an argument or whatever. You can catch yourself being in this aroused state, then you can decide, okay, wait a second, let me think for a few moments, and then come back to it and actually respond in a respectful, kind, and compassionate manner. And then you can reduce the amount of suffering in relationship. That can reduce the amount of suffering in relationship tremendously. You can save so many arguments, so many things that you should not say. You can act in a respectful, loving, kind way, and you can communicate whatever it is that you want to communicate towards your partner without having to shout, without having to call names. And it's going to be so much more peaceful and so much more sustainable that way. So I can't stress this enough. Just today, take out your phone, take out your timer, even if it's just 60 seconds. After you're done watching this video, take out your phone, put out your timer, 60 seconds, and just sit in your chair and breathe. Pay attention to your in and out breath for 60 seconds. And then tomorrow you do it again. And next week you put 2 minutes. The week after 5 minutes. Small steps. Cultivate the habit. And then eventually you'll find yourself meditating for 10, 15, 30 minutes a day easy. I wake up, first thing I do, I set my timer 40 minutes. I meditate 40 minutes. No problem. It's a habit. It's because I convinced myself of the tremendous value it has and the impact it has on my life, the positive impact, and it will have a positive impact on your life too. I promise you that. And I will probably make a video in the future talking about how I meditate and how you can do it too. There's many ways to do meditation, many different styles and types and variations. But in the end, you have to pick one that resonates with you the most, and that way you will make it easy for yourself to implement the habit. So experiment with it a little bit, do some research. There's tons of channels and YouTube videos and books and texts out there, so the resources are available. Pick the ones that you like and start today, guys. I'm 100% sure you will not regret it. So thank you for being brave, thank you for looking inwards, thank you for making this planet and yourself a little bit better one step at a time. Keep flowing, and as always, thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one. Bye.